Overreaction Friday on the Ravens Rundown coming up in just a few moments with my thoughts on the Ravens win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before we get to that, though, I want to make sure not only that you are subscribed to our channel, but also that you are a member of the Noti Gang, that you have your notifications turned on so you never miss a moment of the latest happenings with your favorite team as we cover all of the latest Baltimore Ravens news, rumors, trades, free agency, and more. Post-game reaction. Heck, I was in my apartment on Thursday night. We still brought you post-game coverage because we're just built different around here like that here on the Ravens Rundown. So not only do you need to subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. If you are a part of the Noti Gang, I want you to spam gang in the comments section. Show yourselves out. Get loud, get proud, and tell us where you're at, where the Noti Gang is today. Happy Victory Friday, Ravens fans, after the Baltimore Ravens took down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-23 on Thursday Night Football. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us as we scour the internet for the top overreactions to the Ravens win. It's the first time all season that the Ravens have won back-to-back games, and they get it done against a Buccaneers team that had not been playing well the last couple of weeks, but certainly was a competitive game against Tom Brady and company, as the Ravens are now 5-3 on the season. They remain in first place in the AFC North with the victory over Tampa Bay. Lamar Jackson finished the night going 27 of 38 through the air, 238 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Gus Edwards led the Ravens in rushing with 11 carries and 65 yards in his second game back. And then rookie tight end Isaiah Likely had a breakout performance, a phenomenal game, 6 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown. We'll talk more about Isaiah Likely coming up later on in the show. How about that? The win column, another one for the Ravens. Things heading in the right direction, it would seem. If you loved that Ravens win, getting it done, spam W in the chat for the Ravens victory. I got to tell you, I was just glad that they held on in the fourth quarter, that they protected a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Got the win. Not always the beauty pageant of how you get it done. It doesn't have to be the prettiest way, but getting it done, that's what's most important. You got the victory. Spam W in the comments section if you love the Ravens getting that win against Tampa Bay. So let's begin with our overreactions. The first one on Isaiah Likely, his arrival. It appears that he has arrived. And some people will call this an overreaction. I am of the belief that this is the Isaiah Likely that's here to stay. 6 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. And this guy was just awesome with what we saw on Thursday night. Mark Andrews has not been healthy the last couple of weeks. The injuries that he's dealt with, and then we saw on Thursday night dealing with a shoulder issue there. Isaiah Likely stepped up to the plate, and this is not a guy that is just a blocking tight end. The way that they can line up Isaiah Likely, throw him out in the slot and look like a wide receiver, the moves that he can make, the way that he can weave through a defense, it's awesome to see what this guy is capable of. And then eventually you're going to have games where Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely both play well, and then you find yourself in an interesting predicament if you're a defense. How do you cover these guys? Isaiah Likely is legit. I'm excited about what he brings to the table. We saw in training camp and in the preseason, he was really good, had a phenomenal performance in that preseason game against Arizona. More of this from Isaiah Likely is going to give a lot of defenses problems. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. The best is yet to come with Isaiah Likely. Number 2 on Overreaction Friday, the defense is fixed. Well, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but the defense is vastly improved from what it was to begin the season. Remember, Mike McDonald, the new defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, took a lot of criticism from around the media, especially guys like Rex Ryan on ESPN, among others. But what we've seen since that Week 2 performance, when they gave up, all the yards in the world and all the points to the Miami Dolphins, they have drastically improved. They haven't given up more than 26 points in a game since week 2. They shut down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run game. Tom Brady looked okay. They were able to get pressure on him. It was a really good performance from this defensive group in that they made plays in crunch time when they needed to. I liked what I saw from this Ravens defense. They're getting better every single week. This group is headed in the right direction, and in particular, the secondary. You go back to that Miami game, and with what they were able to do with no pass coverage, this group is getting better in pass defense as well. So I like what I've seen from the Ravens defense. Mike McDonald and company is doing a great job of that. And for me, one of the things I point to with that pass rush, think about Justin Houston. Here's a guy that's 33 years of age, okay? He's no spring chicken. Let's put it that way. And yet he was able to have 2 tackles and two sacks. He has 6 sacks in the last 5 games. Justin Houston has been a huge part of this success of this Ravens defense. And with the injuries that have piled up, the Ravens have been trying to find pass rushers, and they probably still need another piece or two when it comes to pass rushers. But Justin Houston has filled the void and played really well here as of late. I've been impressed to see what that guy can do as an older fella, still go out there and get pressure the way that he has. Credit where credit's due of making this work with the pieces that they have there. Things are getting better. Is it perfect? No, but this defense is headed in the right direction. I wouldn't say everything is fixed necessarily. That's an overreaction, but things are headed in the right direction when it comes to this group. Do you believe in this Ravens defense going forward? Have you seen enough? Are you buying into this Ravens defense? If you are, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section whether you are all in on this defense if you believe this is the group. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you believe in them going forward. As always, you need to subscribe to the Ravens Rundown. We're doing these overreactions. Here it is. It's a Friday. Usually we do these on Mondays for Overreaction Monday. But even then, still with you, finding a way to react to the latest happenings with your favorite team. Trade deadline coming up on Tuesday of this upcoming week. You know we're going to be all over that. If the Ravens make a move, we're going to be the first to tell you about it here on the channel. All the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors and everything in between. It's all in one place. Be a real one. Subscribe to the channel now, youtube.com/RavensTV. Now, let's talk about the injury situation. And no team in the NFL the last 2 years has dealt with more bad luck when it comes to the injury front than the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, and at this point, it feels like the sky is falling when it comes to these injuries, right? I mean, everybody and anybody's been getting hurt. And this is what happened just last night alone for the Ravens against Tampa Bay. Rashod Bateman, Mark Andrews, and Gus Edwards all dealt with injuries. A foot for Bateman, a shoulder injury for Mark Andrews, a hamstring injury for Gus Edwards. All of those guys did not return to the game. And then there was Kyle Hamilton, who had an ankle/foot issue. That was in the fourth quarter. And Marlon Humphrey dealt with a hamstring injury. Both of those guys returned. So that was good to see them both on the field. But as far as the other 3 goes, here's where the overreaction part of this comes out. We heard after the game from head coach John Harbaugh say that he didn't think any of the 3 were that serious. That he doesn't think it's that big of an issue with those 3. So even with that said, for the injuries that this team has dealt with and all the chaos that this team has dealt with over the last couple of years, and the scares of big-time players, impactful players like Rashod Bateman, Mark Andrews, Gus Edwards, who you just got back after he hadn't played football for nearly 2 years here. Even with that said, it looks like things are going to be okay, that it's not the end of the world for those guys. A scare, but you can breathe for a second, and it doesn't look like it's that bad. So that's where the overreaction is, that yes, it is concerning. I understand if you're worried about the Ravens' injury issues, but it doesn't look like last night was as bad as it could have been. How worried are you about the Ravens' injuries as a whole from last night and everything that's piled up at this point? Scale it for me in the comments, 1 through 10. Let me know how worried you are about Baltimore's injuries right now. Couple more overreactions for you. Let's talk about Demarcus Robinson right now. D-Rob with his best game of the season so far. D-Rob finished with 6 catches for 64 yards. One of the things that I liked from Demarcus Robinson was that he was able to move around, that he was able to show some shiftiness of some sort, some yards after catch, and be effective even in the short passing game. When he was in Kansas City, he was mostly known as a deep threat. And throughout his career, the thing with D-Rob is when he's on, he's on. When he's off. Very inconsistent. And so a night like last night, I would like to see more Demarcus Robinson involved in the offense. I know that he kind of fades in and out, but when he's on, I'm telling you, folks, he's on. So now you're going to get Rashod Jackson here pretty soon. I would imagine he gets elevated probably this next week from the practice squad. You could still make a move or two trade-wise. More on that here in just a second. But even with all that said, Demarcus Robinson has, I think, earned the right to get more playing time on the football field for this Ravens team. Last one before we go, our final overreaction. The Ravens are just a player or two away. Look, I mean, to start out this season, the way things have gone, in losing the way that the Ravens have had in their 3 losses this year by being up double digits in the second half in all 3 games. Even in first place, this year feels like it's been frustrating. But even with that said, we've seen this team come so close to winning these football games that they are awfully close. This team is just a player or two away. Now, with that said, if I'm the Ravens, if I'm this team, I'm not staying pat and just holding on as is. If you are going to make a run deep into the playoffs, remember, at this point with the Ravens, it's not just good enough just getting to the playoffs, okay? You have a franchise quarterback. If you're going to go there, you need to make some noise in the postseason. And so for me, when it comes to this trade deadline this week, I would be aggressive. Whether it's go getting a receiver like a DJ Moore or a Jerry Jeudy, or whether it's getting another cornerback. You already have your 2 outside corners in Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey, but we've seen that Kyle Fuller went down. There wasn't really a replacement for Kyle Fuller after that. And we've seen some injury scares with Humphrey and Peters as well. Why not maybe get a Sidney Jones or something like that to be your number 3 corner? And pass rusher-wise, Justin Houston played great last night, but we've seen the injuries pile up with pass rushers. You need more options. So for me, when I look at this Ravens team, they are awfully close. But be aggressive. Go find a player or two before Tuesday and really shore this thing up so you can make a serious run through the month of January as far as I'm concerned. Before we go, what's your overreaction to the Ravens win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What would you say your overreaction is? Get a little spicy. Give me some hot takes in that comment section of what your overreaction is to the Ravens win here on the Ravens Rundown. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and everything in between at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Baltimore Ravens. I got into it with some people on social media during the game, but always a lot of fun doing that. I'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.